Welcome to stage 5 of Tirreno-Adriatico. It's the Queen stage in the hills. So this is the stage to make big differences in the general classification. So we'll see if VeloTour can defend his lead and if his Kyoto team is up to the task. 3 riders escaped early in the stage. It was Jonathan Kaiser, Eloisa Donna, and Samuel Uda. Uda, he's been dropped, so he's in no man's land right now, about a minute in front of this peloton. And the 2 other leaders still out in front by about 2 minutes. Most of the work today being done by AlphaTauri and Natalia, both of candidates to win the stage. And AlphaTauri perhaps has 2, with Yevgeny Balashkov and Luis Sancho. And there's Luis Sancho, about 3rd position with that green jersey. And Sancho sort of rolling toward the front here. And in fact, I think he's got a bit of a gap on the peloton. That wasn't so much an attack, it's just upping the tempo ever so slightly. And interestingly, somebody has dropped the wheel. Caillou seems to be closing the gap, or is he? He pulls off. The Hackett team half-heartedly sending some numbers forward. There's Otto Schmid. But Luis Sancho in that next group up the road, he has a teammate with him. That is Levi Kennedy, the Australian sprinter. And with about 50 Ks to go, it's a pretty audacious move that they've tried here with AlphaTauri. Uda has been caught. In fact, he's in this group of 3 right now. He's on the back of the group. Donna and Kaiser still out in front. Kennedy is just going to bury himself here, try and gain as much distance on the field as possible. And there's the Kyoto riders, but they're not really chasing. Hoping they can coerce another team to do some of the work. Uda, he's been dropped by these 2. And there's the 2 leaders, that's Donna and Kaiser, on the verge of getting caught. And we've just encountered some technical difficulties. Unfortunately, there is a bug in the race engine where the sun sometimes shines way too bright in the middle of the screen. So we're going to sort that out here. Stay with the commentary. So we'll see if we can find a quick fix for that. In the meantime, Sancho, he's caught and dropped the 2 leaders, just over a minute in front of the peloton, and cresting over one of the climbs. Now we've got the pictures back, so we fixed the bug. It's a pretty straightforward one too, so if it happens again, we'll be able to fix it very quickly. So glad we got that sorted out. Sancho's advantage, about a minute and a half, or a bit less. There's the 2 erstwhile leaders, and there's Wilmer Rodriguez of Euskatel Euskadi. He's helping to lead the chase. He's getting some help from a Kyoto rider, that's Yannick Verhova. Kyoto really haven't done that much work today. This is the first time they're coming to the front to do any chasing at all. So VeloTour, no pedals turned in English. Seems to be in good position as we head into the finale of the stage. Sancho is now all by himself at the front of the race by about a minute, 33 seconds. Here comes Caillou back to the front doing some chasing. This stage, very interesting. It's the first real opportunity for the strong men in the hills and perhaps some of the climbers to really make their mark in the VeloTour. So riders like Ugo Zorzi, who's interestingly doing a pretty hard turn of pace here, see what he can accomplish on a stage like today. So 4 climbs to go, including the one that we're getting onto just now. The gap has come down by a few seconds. Sancho, he's been on his own for over 10 kilometers now, and most of that on the downhill. So we'll see how much energy he has left in the final climbs. Zorzi still on the front. I guess he doesn't want any help from anybody else. He is a very strong rider, but you ought to make use of some of those teammates of VeloTour. Good to see the Euskatel riders at the front of the pack. They haven't done much in the opening stages. And judging by the work done by Wilmer Rodriguez and Jean-Marie Caillou, I think Rico Rudiger is going to be the leader for this race at least. This peloton is thinned out quite a lot. It's down to 25 riders. Natalia still have some numbers. Kyoto still have at least 3 riders. Euskatel, 3 riders still. And I think a trio of Doimo riders is still up there as well. that team having a good Tirreno-Adriatico. They were second in the opening team time trial. So I think team manager Miles ought to be pretty pleased with that. Sancho still dangling off the front by about a minute, down to around 25 Ks to go. And we're on to the really steep climb now. They're going to go over this one more time at the very end of the stage. You can see the gradient. It's very, very severe in the middle of this incline. Zorzi's still working at the front. Robillard, the sprinter's still here. That's a big surprise, but I think he's about to get dropped now. And the gradient approaching 20%. It's an absolutely vicious little climb. I think Verhoeven going to make his last dig here to try and close the gap. Sancho's advantage down to 30 seconds, and he's looking a bit tired, so I think he'll be caught momentarily. And Mario Mazziota, another fast man in a sprint, riding well. Looks like he's going to finish off the chase, so Sancho, after a very brave attack, he is back into the pack. Now Qatar is showing some flashes of aggressive racing, and that bodes well for the rest of the season. Certainly want to see as much excitement as possible in the VeloTour. Now here's a surprise, Egon Kalas, who's in 4th place overall and a contender for a high finish. He's been dropped by the peloton, and he hasn't done any work today in service of his team leader. So he simply did not have the legs. I think that's going to take away his chances of a top 10 finish overall, which is a minor blow to Kyoto. But they still have 2 talent here. He's in 2nd place to his teammate Ibai Leida, and he is a very, very strong time trial rider. So he could end up in the top places after the final TT on stage 7. 15 Ks to go now, still 2 hills to climb. There's Rudiger, and I think Giovanni Canali doing some of the pacemaking. See if we get any attacks on this penultimate hill, if somebody wants to use it as a springboard for the finish. Rudiger, he's going to take the group onto this climb, setting a pretty fearsome tempo, wants to deter any attacks. See how much deterring it actually does, because Jeff Cooper, he's gone forward to up the pace even more. See if one of his teammates tries to launch an attack. And the first big move is going to be Rodolfo Lucci of Nautalia. He's had a rough race so far, and we'll see if he can make up for it here. He's got a small gap, but Carlos Nello looks like he's going to nail him back, the little climber on the Sismic team. Onto a flatter section now. Nello, he's turned off the attack. Caillou's going to come forward. He's going to get some help from the Hackett riders as well, but Lucci still looking pretty good. And there's the counter, that's Carlos Nello. And he's a pretty good descender, so might be looking to use the downhill to bridge back up to Rodolfo Lucci. That's going to be a tough duo to catch on the last little hill. Tutan finally comes forward in this stage. He's going to keep things under control for Ibai Leida. There's a Val Nord rider on his wheel. Could be Chungling Shin. And the rest of this group of 13 just strung out behind Nello. He's almost bridged the gap. Around 3.5 Ks to go here onto the final uphill all the way up to the finish. So hard chase by Nello on the downhill, but he's made it across and then goes straight up to the front. Lucci into his wheel. Now let's see what happens on the steep gradients. Nello's going to launch a big attack. And Lucci's got the measure of it so far, but onto the steepest gradients we go, 19.5%. Nello's still pushing. Lucci's still looking pretty good. 2 Ks to go now over the steepest section now, and Lucci, he's lost the wheel. He can't hold it any longer. It's Carlos Nello. He's riding away from the field. He's over 30 seconds in front and into the last K. Carlos Nello is going to solo to his first win of the season, the first for the Sismic team. He's going to send the overall classification as well. So that is a great victory for the little diminutive climber on a stage that maybe didn't suit him quite as well, as Ibai Leida is going to sprint for 2nd place. Mario Mazziota is going to take 3rd, Navarro 4th, and Ileana Pavlova, she will take 5th place. That was a very impressive performance by Carlos Nelo, using the downhill to get back up to Rodolfo Lucci, and he was simply the stronger rider on the final climb. So another disappointment for Rodolfo Lucci. He's going to be down in 11th place, so outside the scoring. And I think team manager Will is going to expect some better performances from a star rider going forward. So the stragglers are coming in, but we'll go ahead and take a look at the results. So these are the stage results for stage 5. It was Carlos Nelo by 26 seconds over the next group. Ibai Leida in 2nd place, Mario Matsuyoda of Hackett in 3rd, his teammate Manuel Navarro 4th, and Iliana Pavlova of Doimo in 5th place. All finished in the same time, 26 seconds back. The next group, the rest of the top 10 at 36 seconds, was Chongling Shen, Jean-Marie Caillou, Yevgeny Volashkov, Luis Sancho, and Hippolyte Toutain. So that was a good ride by Sancho despite his early attacks, still up there in the top 10. I think his teammate Volashkov would have liked to be up there contesting the stage. And let's take a look at the new general classification, and Ibai Leida has extended his lead over everybody not named Carlos Nelo. So he's up 38 seconds on Mario Matsuyoda, who's up into 2nd place. Hippolyte Toutain slips down to 3rd at 40 seconds. Manuel Navarro of Hackett up to 4th at 42 seconds, and Iliana Pavlova of Doimo, she is now in 5th. Carlos Nelo, despite his brilliant performance, only up into 12th place at 2 minutes. He lost some time on an early road stage. He still has a time trial to come on stage 7, so I think he'll slip down a little bit in the standings. On to the points classification, Ibai Leida, a very commanding lead. He has a very good chance of winning that jersey overall. Luis Sancho a distant 2nd, and Ugo Zorzi down into 3rd. In the mountains competition, Ibai Leida again has a very commanding lead, and I think he's got that about locked up. Don't think anyone else can score enough points to get past him. Luis Sancho once again in 2nd place in that competition, and Carlos Nelo up into 3rd. And in the team classification, a new leader, it's AlphaTauri. They had 3 riders up there, 3 in the top 12 on the stage. Kyoto, their 3rd best rider, Yannick Verhova, close to 3 minutes down, and that will take them out of the lead in that competition. So a bit of a morale boost for AlphaTauri. They have a great chance of winning that competition at the end of stage 7. Hackett is up to 3rd. They were very strong today. Natalia 4th and Doimo in 5th. So one of the big decisive days of Tirreno-Adriatico. A bit of a flat interlude tomorrow. We should see the sprinters back in action before the final time trial on stage 7. So we'll see you next time for stage 6. Peace out.